Today on the podcast, we're going to keep it short, sweet, and simple. Keep listening to find out why. Hop in, buckle up, and get ready to lay it on the line. This is Not Speeding, Just Qualifying, a podcast that's just as fast as it sounds. Hello, family. Welcome to an all-new episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. I am your host with the most, David Lawrence. Thank you guys so much for putting me in your ears today. Y'all already know what I'm about to say. Before we get started, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We also have a nice little corner in the podcast section of the YouTube Music app, if that is your pleasure. The more people watch, the more people subscribe, the more the algorithms are going to pick up our content. Also, you need to make sure you subscribe so you can know when we actually drop new stuff. So do us a favor. We thank you in advance for subscribing to our channel. It means the world to us. I'm going to go ahead and hop into it today. This weekend is the second round of the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series season. So today I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a beginner's guide to the NHRA. And the NHRA stands for the acronym National Hot Rod Association. It was formed in 1951 by longtime Hot Rod magazine editor Wally Parks to provide drag racing a governing body to promote and organize the sport of drag racing across the United States and Canada. How successful and how much welcome was the NHRA? In just its first year, the association gained 25,000 members. Not 25, not 2,500, 25,000. And it started in May 1951. Unbelievable stuff. So you could definitely say hot rod and drag racing was a staple in America in the early 50s. The NHRA sanctioned its first ever event in Pomona, California in 1953. Keep Pomona, California in mind. You'll hear that place quite a bit in this episode. The basis of the championship we know today traces its origins to the creation of Drag Safari in 1954. Drag Safari was a nationwide tour designed to encourage organized drag racing while placing an emphasis on safety, an original pillar of the NHRA's creation. The following year, in 1955, saw the organization of the first running of the Nationals, a race that is known today simply by its nickname, the Big Go, the U.S. Nationals. The Nationals were held in Great Bend, Kansas for its first 3 years of 1955 to 57. In 1958, the race rotated to the Oklahoma State Fairgrounds, but for 1959, the race moved east out of the Midwest, heading for 2 years to Detroit Dragway just outside of Detroit, Michigan. In 1961, the race moved to Indianapolis Raceway Park in Brownsburg, just outside of Indianapolis. The race has been held there every Labor Day ever since. Also in 1961, the second major nationals that the NHRA sanctioned was formed. The Winter Nationals held in, surprise, surprise, Pomona, California, the site of the first ever NHRA drag racing event. As the 60s continued, more national meets continued to form. However, a season-long championship was not recognized by the NHRA until 1974. Prior to this, the U.S. Nationals, or the World Finals, determined the champion in each of the divisions. Now that we've talked briefly about the history, now let's talk about the basics of drag racing. Pretty simple stuff. It's a quarter-mile strip, 2 lanes, competitors go head-to-head. First one down, the quarter mile wins. Absolutely racing in its purest form, and why this sport actually is a fan favorite because it's so simple to understand. Now that you've got the basics, again, pretty simple, the event breakdown goes as follows. NHRA events last over 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Saturday are 2 days of qualifying where drivers and teams get opportunities basically to go down the quarter mile as fast as they can. Even though it looks like they're going head to head, they're not truly really going head to head. The top 16 in each division will qualify for race day. Race day will consist of bracket-style single eliminations. As we mentioned, 16 qualify, 16 gets knocked down to 8, to 4, to 2. You know how brackets go. Knockout style until a winner is crowned. And points are awarded for each round a competitor advances. Oh, and one last little tidbit for you. The winners of each meet in each division win a trophy simply known as a Wally. It's a gold-plated mini statue of NHRA founder Wally Parks. And it's a very highly coveted trophy. Even though they are given at every race meeting, these men and women love to collect them. It truly is a symbol that on your day, you truly were the best down the drag strip. Everything went your way. Speed, skill, and you also had a little bit of luck. Now that we've gone through the event breakdown, you've heard me mention this name a couple of times, divisions. At the top class of the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series, there are 4 divisions. From the bottom to the top, let's go over them really briefly. The smallest, youngest, and slowest class is the Pro Stock Motorcycle Division. They were first ran in 1987, and they are purpose-built bikes specifically for the drag strip. They average about 195 miles an hour, and sometimes they can get above that magical 200 number. The second division of NHRA Drag Racing Series is the Pro Stocks. These are the factory hot rods, and they're the closest to the cars that you see on the street. These engines make 1,300 horsepower, and on the quarter mile, they'll exceed 210 miles an hour. Not bad for a lot of pushrod V8, right? The third division, funny car. And yes, they are funny looking in name, but the sounds are unbelievable. They loosely resemble production vehicles, most are modeled after muscle cars. They have 500-inch engines placed in front of the driver, no transmission, but a multi-stage clutch assembly that helps the huge tires on the back of the car move forward. And when they move forward, boy, do they move forward. In the 1,000 feet, they can reach speeds exceeding 330 miles an hour. And last but not least, the top class of NHRA, Top Fuel Dragsters. They are simply known as the kings of drag racing, and for good reason. These rear-engined 11,000 horsepower dragsters go down the quarter mile, exceeding speeds of 330 miles an hour. Fun fact, in that quarter mile, they burn 15 gallons of nitro fuel. Oh, by the way, did I mention these beasts line up at 25 feet long on the drag strip? If you ever get the opportunity to go to an NHRA event and get to stand next to a Top Fuel dragster, you'll see why we call them beasts. There you have it, a quick synopsis of the 4 divisions that make up the top professional class of the NHRA drag racing ladder. Now let's talk a little bit about the schedule. The NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series has 20 events across their 2025 calendar, and they span all across the country, from the Midwest to the Rockies, from Florida to New Hampshire, Ohio to California, and everywhere in between. The season started with the Gator Nationals in Gainesville on March 9th. Here's some other major dates you'll look forward to. The famed Winter Nationals in Pomona will be March 30th. The NHRA has recently embraced 4-wide drag racing. And yes, it sounds exactly as you say it. 4 cars racing down the drag strip at once. And if you ever get a chance to watch it, it's actually a lot of fun. The month of April, fitting, fourth month of the year, will have 2 4-wide nationals. The first will be in Las Vegas, April 13th. The second will be at ZMAX Dragway at Charlotte Motor Speedway, April 27th. Other events include the Route 66 Nationals just outside of Chicago, May 18th. The Thunder Valley Nationals at Bristol Dragway, yes, Bristol Motor Speedway, June 8th. Great date, by the way. And the famed Big Go, the U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis, held on Labor Day itself, Monday, September 1st. The U.S. Nationals is also the end of the regular season. From there, we go to the countdown. The countdown consists of the Reading Nationals in Pennsylvania, September 14th. The first ever 4-wide countdown race, the 4-wide Carolina Nationals on September 21st, the Midwest Nationals in St. Louis, September 28th, the Texas Fall Nationals, October 12th, the Nevada Nationals at Las Vegas, November 2nd, and the In-N-Out Burger World Finals at Pomona, November 16th. Now let me back up for a second. David, what is the countdown? The countdown is the NHRA's versions of the playoffs, postseasons, insert your favorite terminology here. After the U.S. Nationals in Indianapolis, the top 10 in points from the regular season in each of the 4 divisions become eligible for their respective championship runs. Everybody else, you're welcome to race the rest of the season. You just aren't in the championship hunt. The points are reset, and bonus points are given to the regular season points champions with a nice little monetary incentive as well. And the final 6 races will determine the series champion. The points from the 6 races alone, with the padded points, will basically determine who wins the title. Where can you watch it all? Fox Sports is your television home for the NHRA here in the US of A. 6 finals will air on Big Fox, while the balance of the season, including qualifying, will air on FS1 and FS2. Finally, let's talk about the men and women that compete week in and week out on the drag strips. In Top Fuel, you have 4-time and defending series champion Antron Brown, 2-time Top Fuel champion Brittany Force, daughter of the legendary 16-time NHRA champion John Force, who unfortunately will not be racing this season as he is still recovering from an accident he suffered last season. We hope John recovers well, and we love to see the old warrior back in the saddle, hopefully at some point in 2025. Back to Top Fuel we go. 4-time Top Fuel champion Steve Torrance, and also competing in Top Fuel, some 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion by the name of Tony Stewart. Yep, tune in so you can watch Smoke ripping it up down the drag strips in Top Fuel all season long. Fun fact, he's actually filling in for his wife Leah Pruitt. If you are not familiar, Smoke and Leah Pruitt actually had their first child back in November 2024. Now, as of this recording, it's not 100% clear if we'll see Leah back in Top Fuel. Hopefully, we will see her back in NHRA, hopefully later on this year. Moving over to Funny Car, we have Ron Capps, 3-time Funny Car champion, 4-time Funny Car champion Matt Hagan, who, by the way, drives for Tony Stewart in that division, and probably the future of drag racing, 29-year-old defending National Funny Car champion Austin Prock, who also drives for John Force. The cast of characters in Pro Stock is highlighted by the Coughlins, Troy Jr. and 5-time series champion Jeg Jr., and 6-time Pro Stock champions Erica Enders and fellow 6-time and defending Pro Stock champion, the legend himself, Greg Anderson. Last but not least, Pro Stock Motorcycle, we have 5-time series champion Matt Smith and his wife Angie, and 2-time and defending Pro Stock Motorcycle champion Gage Herrera. Trying to pick a driver or a favorite out of this crop or any division in the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series is a very tough challenge, simply because as racing in its purest form, any driver truly can win on any given week. And But I think that also kind of gives you the appeal of the series, you know? Well, guys, that concludes my beginner's guide to the NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Championship Series. Hopefully you guys tune in to watch on Fox and FS1 here in the States throughout the season. If you're outside the US, make sure you check NHRA.com for where the NHRA is on in your country. Before we go, let's get you on track with the weekend preview of what's to come in the world of motorsport. Let's kick it off in China. Round 2 of the Formula One season, the Chinese Grand Prix. That hot start for Lando Norris. Can he and McLaren keep their winning ways going? Is Oscar Piastri going to get his revenge for his misfortune in Melbourne, or will Max Verstappen continue to defy the odds in what looks to be a Red Bull that's not as competitive as his 4 previous championship winners? Sprints on Saturday, and the Chinese Grand Prix itself is on Sunday. If you're in the US, especially on the East Coast, go ahead and set that alarm. Get the coffee. Races at 3 a.m. Eastern Time. For my West Coast fans, I don't feel too bad for you. Race goes off at midnight. Also taking on round 2 this weekend will be the NHRA. The NHRA Mission Foods Drag Racing Series will be out in Phoenix for the Arizona Nationals, and the NTT IndyCar Series returns to the Thermal Club in California, this time not for money, but for points. The Thermal IndyCar Grand Prix will be this Sunday. Catch the race here in the US on Fox, 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific. NASCAR is in Homestead Miami Speedway for a triple header weekend. Kicking off the weekend per usual, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series Friday night under the lights on Big Fox in prime time. The first NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series telecast on network television in prime time. You'll catch it at 8 p.m. Saturday, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on the CW. And Sunday, round out the weekend, 3:30 Eastern on FS1, the Straight Talk 400 for the Cup Series. And last but not least, the World Rally Championship heads to Africa to take on the Safari Rally in Kenya. Action kicks off on Friday and will go on through Sunday. And if you're wondering what the World Rally Championship is, stay tuned. I will also have a video for that coming soon. All right, everybody. We've talked to you about the NHRA. We've given you a weekend preview of all the racing that is to come. So that's all I got for you today. Thank you guys so much for listening. As always, I appreciate you guys. Before I go, just a reminder, follow us on our social media channels. We are on X, IG, and Blue Sky at the handle NSJQ Podcast. The links to these and to my personal social media channels will be in the description box to this video. And last but not least, I'm going to be a broken record player. I'll say it again. Please make sure y'all subscribe to our show here on YouTube. You can do it through YouTube Music. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you subscribe so that way when you get the bell and the notifications, you won't miss when we drop something new. Thank you all for listening to this episode of the Not Speeding, Just Qualifying podcast. I am David Lawrence. I will catch you next time. Until then, remember, you're not living life to the fullest until you're going flat out. So long, everyone.